J. Santee, and today I'm doing sort of a little different video. I am actually going to talk about my DNA Ancestry results. So if you want to find out more about my ancestry and my background and where I come from, keep watching. So about this time last year, I took a DNA Ancestry test with 23andme, and I kind of wanted to find out more about my background. So I already knew that I have mostly African ancestry. Like, my mother is African American. She was born in Alabama, moved up to New York when she was like 10 years old, and pretty much most of my family still lives in Alabama. And my father's side of the family, my father was born in Liberia, which is a country in West Africa, and he came here when he was in his 20s, and that was pretty much all I knew about my ancestry. Like, that I was half African American and half Liberian. But I kind of wanted to know more specifically about my African American side because, I know that, the history of slavery in this country, and like my family, they have their roots in rural Alabama. And, I just always assumed that, I never thought more about thinking more past of the African American ancestry. Like, what does that really mean? And so that's kind of how I was raised, just thinking that, just African American and Liberian. And so I took the 23andme DNA Ancestry test, and I was actually kind of surprised by some of my results. I think the two most surprising things that I found out about my ancestry, first was that I have some Native American ancestry. And I was really surprised by that because I know a lot of Black people like to be like, oh, I got Indian in my family and blah, blah, blah. But, no one in my family really said anything like that. Like, I've never heard anyone really say that we have like Indian ancestry, like Native American ancestry in our family. And so when I took my DNA Ancestry, I saw that I was about 0.3% Native American, and I was like, wow, like I was not expecting that. And even though it's a really small amount, and it says that it goes back like generations and generations, I think that was really surprising to see. And then the second thing that really surprised me, even more so than the European ancestry, even more so than the Native American ancestry, was that I am 20% Nigerian. And it was pretty crazy to me. And then the fact that it said that, and as I walk you guys through like my results, it kind of said that it was fairly recent ancestry. Like, I think someone born between 1870 and like 1930. And I'm like, okay, so I'm thinking to myself, okay, 1870, that's after slavery ended here in the United States. So I'm like, it must not be from my mom's side then. So I guess it's from my dad's side, which is really crazy because he's never mentioned anything about being Nigerian or anything related to Nigeria. So the fact that I have basically a great grandparent or something like that that was 100% Nigerian is really surprising to me. So I think that was the most interesting thing about my ancestry. So let me walk you guys through my results. So this is my DNA Ancestry report. And as you can see, it gives me my ethnic breakdown, with 96% being sub-Saharan African. And of that, 54.1% Ghanaian, Liberian, and Sierra Leonean. And they predict that my ancestors are from Liberia in the past 200 years. And continue scrolling down. Nigerian, 20.9%, which, as I mentioned earlier, I was pretty surprised by that. And then Congolese, 3.6%, which is pretty cool also. And then Senegambian and Guinean, 2.6%. So Senegal, the Gambia, Guinea, and Guinea-Bissau. African hunter-gatherer. And then Southern East African, And then broadly West African, 8.8%. And that's, broadly across West Africa, broadly Congolese and Southern East African, 2.3%. And then finally, broadly sub-Saharan African, 3.1%. So that was pretty cool to find that out. And then I scroll down, European, 3.3%. And then of that, British and Irish, 1.3%. So that makes sense, given the slavery in the United States. And then Scandinavian, which is interesting, also 0.4%. So I'm 0.4% Viking. And then 1.1% broadly Northwestern European. And then broadly Southern European, 0.1%. And then broadly European, 0.4%. And then keep scrolling, East Asian and Native American. So Native American, 0.3%. And then it says North, Central, and South America were first populated around 15,000 years ago. And then broadly East Asian and Native American, 0.1%. And then as you keep scrolling down, it gives you your ancestry timeline. So how many generations ago was your most recent ancestor? So you most likely had a parent or grandparent who was 100% Ghanaian, Liberian, and Sierra Leone, which is born between 1930 and 1960, which is correct because my dad was born in 1950 in Liberia. And then it gets interesting, the Nigerian, born between 1870 and 1930, so I'm assuming like a great-grandparent or something like that. Congolese, born between 1780 and 1870. And then Senegambian and Guinean, born between 1750 and 1840. And then also British and Irish, born between 1750 and 1840. Interesting that happens in the same generation. Native American, born between 1720 and 1810. And then Scandinavian, Southern East African, and African hunter-gatherer all in that same time frame also. So pretty interesting to see my breakdown, especially across generation. I love the fact that it gives you like a timeline breakdown, which is cool just to kind of see how that all meshes together. And like I said, the most surprising part for me, I think, was the Nigerian. Just like, I never thought of myself as having Nigerian ancestry, so it's cool to see that breakdown. Another interesting thing about 23andMe is that it gives you a breakdown of how you compare to your DNA relatives. So this is a breakdown of traits that would be common amongst my DNA relatives. So as you can see, 71% less likely to sneeze when exposed to bright light, 65% more likely to have worked as a lifeguard, 49% less likely to drink espresso drinks, 48% less likely to have worn braces on their teeth, 45% more likely to have hair that becomes frizzy in humid weather. No kidding. 44% more likely to have run a marathon. 42% more likely to drink energy drinks, which is funny because I used to drink energy drinks all the time. 39% more likely to be able to do the side splits. I can't do a split. I'm working on it. 39% more likely to sweat while sleeping. 38% more likely to have a gap between their two front teeth. Hell yeah! 37% more likely to have skydived. 34% more likely to feel jittery after drinking caffeine. Not really, and I drink caffeine like a fish. 34% less likely to make New Year's resolutions. 33% less likely to be a super taster. 32% less likely to be a vegetarian. 31% less likely to like the taste of dark licorice. 30% more likely to be able to do the forward splits. 29% more likely to be able to do a cartwheel. I used to be able to do cartwheels when I was younger. 29% less likely to own a cat. 25% less likely to be able to wiggle their nose. 22% less likely to have learned a foreign language as an adult. 22% less likely to have red body or facial hair, which is interesting because I had a great-grandfather that had red hair. So there's a couple of people in my family who have red hair. 20% more likely to drink caffeinated soda. 19% less likely to have sweaty palms. Yeah, my palms never sweat. 18% more likely to be able to whistle, 14% more likely to drink tea, 13% more likely to have 2 differently sized feet, 13% less likely to exercise by strength training, 11% less likely to think that fresh cilantro tastes like soap. I feel bad for people who can't eat cilantro. It's delicious. 11% more likely to have perfect pitch. Overall, I think it was a pretty accurate report. I think it's pretty cool that you can, connect with your DNA relatives, particularly with 23andme. It connects you with your DNA relatives, so you can kind of connect with one another and see how you are related. And so I have people who are like my third and fourth cousins who I'm communicating with, and we're trying to figure out like what that family connection is. I think it's really cool if people are interested in being more open-minded and figuring out like where they come from and trying to get a bigger picture of like their background. I think it's cool to kind of try and piece those things together. So overall, I think it's something I would recommend. But that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to like this video and subscribe. And also, please make sure to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at @TheJSanty. See you later.